Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. And today, my friends, we're back with a High Elf vs. Warriors of Chaos showdown. It's going to be Imric versus Bellacor. So two big, very expensive lords. Imric is going to be on his dragon. So these are characters that probably cost well over 3,000. I think Imric, if you bring all his items on his big dragon, is almost like, yeah, he's like 3,500, 36. He's very, very pricey. And Bellacor, depending on the spells and kit you bring, is usually over 3,000. I think the cheapest form of Bellacor with just Pit of Shades, which it looks like is the pick here for the Demons or Warriors of Chaos player, not Demons of Chaos. Bellacor, of course, can be brought with the Warriors, is just over 3,000. So it should be pretty similar in terms of just pure value. Now, for the High Elf army here, it is going to be Imric. And I mean, Imric is, he is a beast of a fighter. If we take a look at his kit, he's got 580, great combat stats. Fire damage can be pertinent if your opponent brings like a character like Festus on Warriors of Chaos. But I mean, yeah, it looks like the High Elves here just brought all the goodies. So we do have the Dragon Horn, we have the Star Lance, we have the Lord of Dragons, just everything. Imric just going balls deep, looking to get a duel with Bellacor, and Bellacor might be willing to take it. Let's see. So 9.5 HP versus 10.3. The stats are 70 and 55 against 74 and 56. So slight stat advantage to Imric. 580 versus 500. So Imric certainly hits a little bit harder. Charge bonus of 50 against 55. So I think just in a pure objective fighting, Imric might be a little bit favored, but again, Bellacor does have some really powerful abilities. He has the Dark Master, so he can lower stats for 33 seconds, which is crazy. Shadow Shroud gives ward save of 40% for 33 seconds, so it's hard to say, honestly. Bellacor might be able to do it with his abilities. As far as the rest of the High Elf army goes, it's going to be Spears on the Ground, a Mage of Life, and it is going to be the Swordmasters of Hoeth. Now, High Elves did get buffed. Oh, dude, that guy is so cool looking. Have I seen that helmet before? He's got like the full face helmet. That looks really rad. I don't know if that's like a new thing. But the Swordmasters of Hoeth are, of course, just in pure dueling. If we're talking great weapon infantry in the game, they're one of the strongest. They do very, very well for their price point. And that's largely due to the buffs that we did see in the Martial Prowess and Martial Mastery. So that will help quite a bit. You can see it does get disabled at 25%, so that's quite a change from what we've had in the past. And if you're going to bring Imric, you have to bring a Mage of Life. Like, you just have to bring heals for Imric. He's such a centerpiece that you really need to pay for it. Now, for Chaos, going to be great weapons. We have a Hell Cannon as well, so the Hell Cannon's going to be sitting back here, dropping some hot, fat, steaming payloads here on most likely these Swordmasters. And that was actually a manual fire shot here, so the Warriors of Chaos player actually did a manual fire because everything was out of range, but he's trying to like extend the duration of the shot, which is really funny, but it looks like it didn't work out. So Marauders with great weapons, and yeah, typically against Elves, you're going to want great weapons. There is kind of a school of thought of going with like Shielded Chosen just to kind of like, catch your opponent off guard. And if somebody does go for like a Sister of Avalorn type build, maybe. But yeah, the great weapons I think are the way. So great weapons, we got Hounds, and up on the high ground it's going to be Marauders and Chaos Warriors. And it looks like we're just going to get a King Kong versus Godzilla duel here. It looks like your boy Imric is just going to be engaging. So we'll of course make sure to get all the glorious cinematic shots of the Lord of Dragons fighting man and Bellacor the Dark Prince, aka Thorin Oakenshield's going to be flying over here. And the reason why we call him that is because the actor who voiced Thorin Oakenshield in The Hobbit is the same voice of Bellacor, which you can kind of tell when you really listen closely in the campaign. So it looks like Bellacor is actually coming for the fight. Imric is going to be pulling up, trying to get a little bit closer to his life caster, I would imagine, as the Hell Cannon just continues to pour some hellish salvos into the Swordmasters. Definitely hurts pretty bad, and I would imagine that your boy Bellacor is probably going to be getting some fat Pit of Shades on these guys. Now, to get the most value out of Pit of Shades, you typically want to wait for the units to get like really, really close together, or wait for them to be in melee so all the infantry pile in and you can get them the most bunched up as possible. So the Elves going to be advancing up. We do get the White Lines of Grace as well as Illyrian Reaver Archers, so kind of cool. Reaver Archer is not a bad skirmish unit against like great weapons, especially the Marauders. And it looks like the duel is on, so they're fighting over the Black Arc Pit, which is pretty cool. So Lord of Dragons versus Bellacor up here in the sky. I don't think they're going to be having any synced animations or anything. We'll have to kind of keep tabs on that. But overall, if we look, we see the Star Lance is active, so he's going to be pretty jacked. And honestly, Imric is kind of winning this. Dark Master does put his melee attack down to 34, which really isn't bad. But the Star Lance is going to be giving armor-piercing damages up to 693. But okay, it looks like Bellacor is kind of charting the tide a little bit. We do see a Pit of Shades going down, so Pit of Shades is pretty much going to eviscerate. Oh, he accidentally did it on Spearman. That's a pretty big blunder there. Or maybe the Swordmasters dodged out of the way, which I think is perhaps what happened there. But, this is what we're all here for, is the Imric and Bellacor duel. We do see the Shadow Shroud coming down, but honestly, Imric's kind of just winning this trade, even with the Shadow Shroud and some of the buffs and treachery that Bellacor has brought. And he only brought Pit of Shades. He didn't bring in Enfeebling Foe, which would have actually really, really helped him in this duel. But Bellacor does have access to some healing, which is, of course, is conditional. So if we take a look at the conditions of said heal, the Lord of Torment. So he's going to be getting healing per second and increases intensity. Okay, so it's like Slaanesh, basically. So he needs to have wavering units near him to get that Mortis healing going. But yeah, Imric honestly kicking some serious butt. Now let's focus on the rest of the battle a little bit. We can see the Swordmasters of Hoeth just giving the absolute dirty to these Chaos Warriors with Great Weapons. And it's very cool to see that, you know. Seeing one of the newer factions, of course, that just got updated, you know, and seeing one of these old but faithful factions come in and be able to kind of trade in melee against Chaos is very encouraging. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I'm really excited to see what Heil players do. Is because I do think that they have a lot of potential. Like, they have some great infantry that trade pretty effectively. Of course, a little bit vulnerable against, like, magic, but dude, the Lord of Dragons just going deep, man. Showing no mercy to Bellacor. Up on the high ground, we do have a fight between Hellstriders and Hounds versus some Dragon Princes, and the Reaver Archers were able to kite back. So just having a little standoff. I think the real epicenter of the battle is going to be the low ground engagement. So your boy Imric right now is going to be flying up and looking to get after the Hell Cannon. Most likely a Dragon's Breath attack on the Hell Cannon. We'll see. And I think Bellacor might be coming in for the duel once again. Bellacor is really having a problem. He probably should honestly just try and avoid the dragon if he can. So Bellacor does get the blow right there. The Dark Prince continuing to fight the Lord of Dragons. The big dragon, Star Dragons, of course, one of the stronger dragons of the game, doing quite well. Lord of Dragons is active too. So we have to remember that Imric, of course, does have access to debuffs of his own, and Bellacor is going to be retreating. And, you know, Bellacor doesn't quite have the big healing, right? Like an overcasted regrowth or a basic regrowth going down here is going to be huge. I mean, the HP value on Imric is crazy, and so far he's already gotten 1500 value from the damage he's been able to do, but due to Bellacor here. Now it looks like the Warriors of Chaos, of course, Chaos is able to bring a couple marked units, so we do see Hellstriders of Slaanesh coming out, and typically that's what most Warriors of Chaos players do, is they just go for marked units for their choices, right? So you're typically just, or Slaanesh units for their marks is what I meant to say. They're just so cost effective. Slaanesh units and their cav especially are just so powerful. I'm trying to think of what other like marked units you might actually be interested in. Honestly, yeah, it would just be Slaanesh cav. That's got to be the go-to choice. So once again, you know, Bellacor continues to just get spanked by Imric, and I think he's trying to fight him to keep the Hell Cannon going. We see some Chosen with great weapons coming out. Hell yeah, Chosen are so rad. And it looks like they will be advancing up, and they should be able to put some hurt on this position. Granted, the High Elves are very dominant here. Swordmasters have been doing pretty well for themselves. It looks like we do have two Swordmasters who've kind of been pulled back in reserve, letting the Spears hold the line. Up on the high ground, Chaos looks like they probably know they're losing this low ground position, so they have to go for a bit of a counter push, which isn't a bad idea. I would have liked to have maybe seen the Chosen up here instead. It seems like Chaos, of course, is grinding and trading here. Bellacor is really, really tough to finish. I can't tell you how many games I've had with Bellacor where I like thought I had him on the run, or he was very, I mean, even in this state, he's still confident, which is pretty crazy. His leadership is nuts. The Shadow Shroud gives him the ward save. Imric, without the heals, might have actually been in a position where he was going to lose his duel, but with the heals coming in from the mage, he's able to kind of accentuate the strengths of his mortal elves here and do quite well for himself. Now Chosen will be getting in against Spears. Hell Cannon seems to be a nice tool. I do like the Hell Cannon positioning, because what's cool about the Hell Cannon is it could like shoot from here over to the middle. It has pretty good like arc of fire, and people often don't, you know, expect it, you know, from these more melee-centric factions. So the Chosen with great weapons have moved in, and it looks like these bad boys are going to be engaging against the Swordmasters, who probably are going to miss the counter charge. I think the epicenter of focus was really up on the dragon here, so the Swordmasters are going to be eating the charge there. Chosen have a decent charge bonus of 32, but you know, these Swordmasters will put some hurt back on the Chosen. Uh-oh, looks like a big breath attack's going to be going down on this other unit of Chosen here. Nasty, nasty damage. Really able to cut through those guys, doing about 20% HP damage. And then the Lord of Dragons is going to go in. Bellacor has learned that fighting the dragon isn't a good call, but you know, if the dragon isn't occupied with Bellacor, the Star Dragon's going to be jumping over here, and certainly will be feasting on some of these more elite units here. So the big man is doing some good work, and man, look how quickly these Chosen are dying to the Lord of Dragons, especially with the debuff on. So, big Pit of Shade's going to be going down. Nice cast from the Warriors of Chaos player. That is going to be cutting through the Silver Helms and several other units here. So that's a nice little 2-for-1. Anytime you can get a Vortex, static Vortex spell in these positions, gotta feel pretty good. Imric, though, being attacked by Bellacor. Bellacor does get the jump on him, so Imric isn't going to be getting his charge bonus, and it looks like he's kind of picking the fight for when the Dark Master is active, but Regrowth once again going down. So good. That's going to pick his vigor up, so now Imric is winded, whereas Bellacor is exhausted, so that's going to be coming into play. Chosen still able to break through those spears, but we'll see how Imric does in this fight. Now, up on the high ground, the Slaaneshi Cav trying to get in there, but honestly, White Lions of Krace seem to be a pretty cost-effective choice. They're able to win most of the trades, or at least trade evenly with Chaos Warriors for a relatively good price point. And we do see the Dragon Princes of the High Elves are able to rout off some of the enemy forces off the side of the map. And now we see some Undivided Forsaken coming in, maybe trying to overload this position, get a victory here. We do see the White Lions of Krace starting to buckle, but Imric really has just been winning these trades. But Chaos here is coming for this. Is this going to be a Helm's Deep situation where Chaos is able to push him back? Okay. So the Dark Master here, I actually just thought the High Elves were going to be decisively kind of taking this one here. I didn't, of course, watch the full replay here, but Chosen with great weapons, able to move on to objective number 3, and it looks like that is going to be taken. So the objective taken by the Warriors of Chaos, and the Chosen able to push back the Elves. We do see some tattered Silverhelms and Spearmen. Imric going to be moving up to the high ground, and the Elves might actually have to go for, okay, I think with the current point split, if it just stays as it is right now, I think the Warriors of Chaos will win just barely by like a couple hundred points, or like in that margin. It's going to be super close. So the Elves are going to need to double cap here. Lord of Dragons getting in, going to get a big terror up most likely. The Slaneshi units are ITP, they're immune to psychology, so you have to get basic breaks on them. But the big, axe boys and the great weapons, the Chaos Warriors, they are not quite immune to psychology. So the terror routes coming in, and the Elves were able to kind of bunker bust that position. Bellacor, where is the Dark Prince? Where is he cackling? Okay, he's pushing over here, but the Elves able to take advantage of their mobility, using the Reavers to come on and double cap this point. And in response, the Warriors of Chaos going to be coming out using 2 Marauder great weapons. Now, great weapons, of course, like I said, pretty good against the Elves across the board. Elves do have a fair amount of armor, the High Elves do, but one of these guys could probably intercept them before they get to the objective. It looks like one of the Elves might actually do that. Yep, the High Elves are going to be sending in the Reavers to intercept the Marauders with the great weapons here. They probably still will get on the objective to kind of mitigate the cap weight, but then the Dragon Prince is coming from the back. Heavy metal, dude. Skull Crushers of Khorne, I love it. Yes, we're going to be seeing the anti-large come in. So Dragon Prince's lance is couched. Going to be getting a beautiful one. Should do some heavy shock damage, and look at that, instantly taking down about 30-40% HP. And the Skull Crushers, though, not a bad answer. I mean, they are anti-large. These Bulldog Cav, I think they're a little bit overpriced. Like, you have to pay 1,800 for these guys, and Demogryph Knights with Halberds are 1,500. And they're not, these guys are slightly, they'll beat Demogryphs like by a little bit, but not by that much. And again, they don't have access to like healing and things like that. So I think Skull Crushers should get a cost reduction of like 100 to 150. I think that would make them pretty cool. But I mean, they do break the Reaver super quickly, but that's to be expected, right? Reavers are kind of a low tier skirmish cap, but the High Elves do use their mobility to maneuver up here, getting the Reavers to just take that objective. And now Chaos, of course, does have a nice stranglehold in the bottom objective with their double Chosen, but the problem is, like, that's a lot of money invested down here that's going to have 0 impact up here. They're simply not going to get here quick enough. And the Elves now have a situation where the Warriors of Chaos are going to have to get a triple cap. We get Reavers engaging against Slanesh Cav, and Imric is just, out for blood, man. It looks like the dreaded dragon hump animation hasn't been completely fixed. But the Star Lance is in there. Is he actually attacking? I don't think he is. He's just, like, levitating. He's been... some sort of eldritch spell has been cast by Bellacor there. Over here we get the Hell Strategies of Slanesh attacking into Reavers. Should trade effectively. Pretty much a hard counter if you look at it just based on stats. And now they've decided to have a gentleman's agreement to go fight up with this guy. So here they are. Star Lance, I believe, has worn off, unfortunately, so we did lose out on the charge bonus. Bellacor very tanky, though. He's at about 3,700. Imric going to be trading at tooth and nail there. And the Bulldog Cav seem to be doing good. 55 kills. I mean, they will also beat Dragon Princes. Dragon Princes lack the armor piercing to deal with the Bulldog Cav. I always feel like the Skull Crusher mounts are a little bit squat, like a little bit of a sausage. But, I mean, they do kind of look like that in tabletop as well, so that makes sense. But about 600 value, and they are a decent dual purpose. They have decent armor piercing, so they can cut through some of these units. We do see the big bombardment going down right there, so that is going to be the Pit of Shades. And up in the sky, Bellacor is just, again, been getting his butt kicked by Imric all day. Imric is showing no mercy, about 4,000 value. Almost all of which, a couple engagements with Chosen, but most of it's been kind of accrued from fighting the Dark Prince here. Now, taking a big macro look at the battlefield, Chosen are holding the low ground objective. What you probably should have done with the Chosen is sent them back here. I mean, I don't think they would have had time, but at least there's some sort of an attempt at the victory there, but that is going to be GG well played, as Bellacor is going to be slain by the Lord of Dragons here in just a second. He's got like one more. Oh, yeah. Like Bellacor gets taken out right there at the very end. GG, well played, man. What a fun match. We got to see Imric on a Star Dragon do really well. So awesome stuff there. Swordmasters performed okay. Obviously, Pit of Shades and a Hell Cannon's going to be a pretty solid counter against them. A Hell Cannon was a good choice. Bellacor honestly didn't do bad himself, but Imric had healing and he didn't, so that was the big deciding factor. And War Host of the Apocalypse. Oh, that's a cool name, isn't it? And I also really like to see the attempt at the Skull Crushers. This was a really fun game between these two players. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We'll be back with more soon. Going to be trying to find some unorthodox builds to share. This is certainly one of them. And more good times on the horizon, my friends. GG, and the Lord of Dragons cackles this day.